Okay, episode 44 with Brian Basho. How we doing, my friend?
What's happening, brother? Thanks for having me.
Of course, it's been a long time coming, buddy. We've been trying to track you down. Wanted to
Yeah,
give you
no,
a shout out. Happy O3 day, my friend.
yeah, man. Happy over 311. It's crazy. I just like posted a video last year and I feel like it just flew by the last year, man. Time's
Crazy,
fucking
huh?
flying as you get older,
It's nuts,
right?
dude.
Yeah, man.
All right, so where do we start off, man? So let's see. Where did I see you first? I think I was first hip to you off John A. Light.
Oh, no
We
shit.
saw you going on there.
Johnny, good
Yeah,
friend of mine.
big fan of his, dude.
Are you? I'm gonna have to connect you guys.
Absolutely, I'd love that. So, yeah, so we're both kind of northern guys. I see you're a Jersey guy.
Yeah, yeah. Where you at? You're in
Right.
I forget.
Boston.
I'm fucking Oh, no shit.
Yeah, man.
Boston.
Yeah,
Boston.
yeah.
I got
So,
I got a ton of all my boys from 1-6 and are from Boston, man. You guys, we got a New Jersey and we stick together,
you
northeasterners.
got to. So does that make you an Eagles fan?
Die hard,
Oof.
bro.
Oh.
Die. Yeah, sorry about that Super Bowl a couple years ago, bro.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. All
Yeah,
right.
no. I was at the NFC Championship game this year, man, and we didn't pull it out, but I think we'll be
Hey,
back.
still good to go to them though. Huh? I'm sure you had a good time.
Yeah, right.
But so where are we gonna start off here? I'd like to hear about what was it like growing up for you up there, man?
Oh man, I was a bad kid, just kind of like USMC, Uncle Sam's Misguided Children.
Of course.
Um, yeah, and I just went to reform school, was into drugs. A lot of people have a not a similar story, but have a parallel.
I'm right there with you.
And yeah, I went to reform school. Went try to get a football scholarship with the junior college of Valley Forge Military College. Ended up leaving there. And I always say Brian's rock and roll tour. I left. I got back from Christmas break from it was a 2-year college, so you went and got your associates. And I got back the semester before I left. I was just a young, dumb kid, full of piss of vinegar, testosterone. You know how it is.
Of course.
And I thought Valley Forge was going to straighten me out. No, it didn't. And I got back from a winter break and I got there and I was skipping school at military college. And I was just, demerits were wrapping up. I
What
thought I
is
was
that?
like
So
getting by in the system.
how does a military college work really? Is it like
Yeah.
straightforward, strict? I don't
Yeah.
know. I've heard
Yeah.
different
So,
stories.
yeah. So when I went in, they took so it was a lot of British. So it had like a lot of British Army people would come over,
Okay.
but there was they had a ROTC program for the Army dudes. And yeah, so you had to go through like an 8-week plebe system. It was kind of like boot camp. It was just hazing. Nowadays it was just like the guys are older, just dumb shit. But I tell people all the time with like reform school, I'll back it up. I didn't go outside for 2 months. When you took a shit, you had to have like one little square piece of paper, and it was like all like court order kids. So I kind of was like, all right, whatever. I already done this shit. So now I'm going to a plebe system. It was 8 weeks. They got like a cap shield of like whatever the emblem of Valley Forge. It was kind of stupid. Not kind of, it was. Now that I look back on it, but it taught you like rank structure. So they had rank structure there, and it was like kind of chain of command. So they had like each barracks had like an XO and stuff. So I learned a little bit about the military, and I kind of digged it. And but I didn't I went there to play football and try to get a scholarship. And like as I fast forward back to that one, got back from Christmas break, I go there and there's this list of demerits. There's fucking Basho at the top, and I'm like, fuck this. I'm like, I'm out of here.
When you
Charged
say when you
down the
say when
next
you
day.
say demerits, is that like detention or is that like just shit you fucked up?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So like not going to school, so you had to work off your demerits. So
Okay.
you had to go like clean, or you had to go fucking sit in like a detention for hours. So that was like the military structure. And I was just like, and I wasn't gonna be able to leave. You can't leave on weekends. I was like, fuck this. I
Oh
was like
shit.
20 years old. And I'm like, fuck this,
Of
man.
course.
All my friends are college. I'm like, why am I doing this shit? So without a plan, I called Brian's rock and roll tour. And I just left and couch surfed up in your area. I went to
Did the
Rhode Island.
degenerate bounce around?
Oh yeah, and I kind of fighting, fucking around,
Of
and
course.
yeah, and after a couple months, I'm like, what am I doing? No, this isn't sustainable.
Hmm.
Running out of money.
It
I
weighs on
got
you
back.
after a while, you know.
Yeah, and I was like, what am I doing? Came back, worked at like a liquor store, went to community college, and I'm like, this is fucking. What am I doing with life? And went down to the recruiter's office. I'm like, yo, I'm ready to be a grunt, and it signed up and shipped off that September.
Okay.
Good old Paris Island. Yeah.
Now is this 08?
Yeah. Oh wait. Oh wait.
Same year as me. Okay.
Yep. What year did you go on?
2008.
Or month?
I was
What month?
June 23rd.
Okay. Cool. 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 So I was going in as you were getting out.
Yep. Yep.
Mhm.
What
Yeah.
battalion
Who
were you?
these fucking recruits? I was in first.
Same here. I was first battalion Alpha.
Me too. I was
No
Alpha. So
shit.
we probably picked up
Who was
right
your drill
after
instructor?
head Sergeant Goins
I know Goins.
and Capone.
You had Capone?
Capone.
Dude, that was
He was my
mine, bro.
senior.
Get the
He was
fuck
awesome.
out of here. Savage, bro.
I
Capone,
was ta-
good dude.
Yeah, he
Now,
was awesome.
bro, did you hear about him?
No. I was talking to him for a while on Facebook and then he went off. We were
I'm
kind of shooting
sorry
the
to, sorry to give you the bad news. He committed suicide, my friend.
Oh man,
Yeah,
dude,
dude.
that's
I know.
crazy.
I know, dude. That hit me
Damn, that
hard, dude,
sucks.
because I kind of stayed in touch with him a little bit, dude. I always kind of,
Hmm.
how you kind of like rock with one drill instructor, kind of.
Yeah,
That
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
that was him for me, and he kept it a buck with me, and I always respected him. And
Yeah.
yeah, fuck, man. R.I.P. to a real one right there.
Yeah, he was a good dude. He was my senior. It was like I think I was his first senior drill instructor cycle.
Yeah, that was his first one because I had Capone, Chambers, and Coulter. Coulter was my senior. But
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's small world,
Yeah, he was a
dude.
good dude. I know the Marine Corps, especially, especially now, like getting out and connecting people through the podcast. It's like, oh, this person. It's just such a small world,
So the
man.
podcast is kind
Such
of
a
new to
small.
me, bro. I never expected to kind of go in this route. It kind of just came my way. But I
Mm-hmm.
gotta say, I am
Mm-hmm.
so thankful for it, dude. I kind of had a
Mm-hmm.
I had a rough go of it coming out, and I think we're lucky to be in a time where internet, Instagram's so big because it makes it easy for us, dude. Um,
100%, dude.
so how did I don't know if you will, how did you get into the podcast game?
So it's kind of like you. So back in, I guess it's like 2, 3 years. Yeah, it would be like 3 years. And I was kind of in like a weird spot. I just started working out again, and I went to this gym. Good savage dude. And I saw him talking about some of his mental issues, and I was like, oh, this badass dude can talk about it. And I was like, I want to do a project. So as I live in Jersey City, I went into New York City and just recorded my first episode. It's funny. I was on my way there. I'm like, do I want to do this? Because at that time there wasn't that many veteran podcasts, and I
Exactly.
was, the mental health and the stigma, and I'm like, ah, man, I don't want to. I don't know. So I just went
It's
in there
hard to
and just
break that
started.
plane, dude. It's hard to just start talking about that
Yeah.
stuff because you actually come from the same
Hmm.
era as me, and it's I don't want to
Hmm.
say it's looked down upon, but it's not
Hmm.
it's not they don't say go do it. Yeah, it's a
Right.
weird dynamic, and
Yeah. It's different now. A lot more people are talking about it. And I'm all for share your story, but don't turn into a victim. There's some
absolutely,
vets that have this victim mind. Like, what are you doing to change? There's
yeah, for
it's
sure.
I hear oh, the VA. Well, the VA, yeah,
Come on,
whatever. The VA is the VA.
that's
But
an easy go out. You know what I mean?
right. But then it's like you can't just sit around and play video games all
Yeah,
day and fucking drink. You
exactly,
gotta use your fucking skills you have, because what
for
we've
sure.
learned is no 4-year college is going to teach you. But yeah, no, I got into the podcast and just recorded like 4 episodes. I didn't release it for a couple months. I was like, and then I finally did, and people were like, whoa, people from like 1-6 and 1-2. I was in 2 different units, and they were like, dude, this is sick, and people are like, oh, I'm going through the same shit. And I was like, all right, cool. And then like you said too, the people I connected with
Yeah,
it's amazing. people I hang out here now, my tribe here is all through the podcast, the Soft Bad Monkey dudes, and Jason Delgado, Steve Ralston, those guys, Paulie, and it's just those I met them through. I always say is you get what you give, so I
For
put
sure.
out that shit, and and you find people that fuck with you on your frequency.
Yep.
So
So you're
it's
in your
been
studio right now. That's at your crib, or
yeah, it's just at my house. I do a lot of in studio stuff. I'm getting ready to start recording a series of episodes, but if I'm remote, I'll just do it here.
I definitely
And just
see
kind of do
that
the Zoom.
the podcast is definitely much better when you do it in person, dude. You get a different vibe out of it.
Right. Yeah. So I do a couple. I record often with like Jace Delgado and Steve Ross and those guys because they're close by and we just kind of hey, we want to go shoot the shit,
Yeah, gotcha.
and do that. But
So
yeah. So and then
I got into it. I was actually the episode before John Alight on the Soft White Underbelly.
so it's funny. I know a bunch of people that've been on there.
Yep.
So I know Kevin Donaldson. He was a cop in
Oh,
New
that's right.
Jersey.
That's right.
Yeah, so I talk to him often. He's got a show, the Suffering Podcast. I was
Oh,
supposed
I'll
to
have
go
to
on
check that
that,
out.
but yeah, he's a good dude. His story's pretty nuts. And then John Alight's like a good friend of mine. It's
No
cool.
shit.
We actually just talked. I just talked to him the other day. Yeah, we've recorded a bunch. I jumped on his show.
Saw
I've
that.
done a couple things.
Came out
Yeah,
great, by the way. Good job on that, dude.
yeah, it was it's cool. And that guy Felix, a co-host of him, is like a podcast like superstar.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so I actually just talked to him. He just opened a studio in Brooklyn, so I'm gonna stop by there, do a show.
Awesome.
But yeah, no, John Lane's a good dude, man. He's all about the vets. So and a lot of parallels.
So I was gonna bring that up to you. So I'm a huge mafia guru. I'm Italian. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's always been something I've been into. But I've always had a parallel with street guys, and I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
that's because I don't know if you notice we have very similar stories, and I don't know if it's
Mm-hmm.
the parallel of violence or the coming up rough or what it is. But when I first did my soft white underbelly thing, I thought it was going to be all vets that reached back to me, and it was actually completely the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Got a lot of street guys, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of guys that just when you bring up PTSD, it's a touchy subject nowadays. I mean, not nowadays, but I mean it's new to a certain degree. But yeah, a lot of people have a lot of similarities with us when it comes to going through that stuff, whether it's just dealing with hard things, on the street or going through a traumatic experience, whether it be a murder or, something like that. You get a lot of similar stories with people that aren't just vets. And it was kind of a shocker to me. I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to me being on John's show and him being on mine. He's always sharing I got your sick stuff. And his audience he follows my show. And
Similar
the one
demographics.
thing is, yeah, so it's the way that like I talked to John about it is it's you have the camaraderie, right? You almost have a chain of command. They're like street soldiers.
Definitely.
So they get it. And a lot of the things I talk about with John is like, he's changed his life, but he's um they get it. They've gone through things that, at that same younger age when you're, 18 to 22, we're all, still developing in the mind. And, we're attached to this tribe in the military and they're attached to this tribe in their,
Yep. Very similar.
mafia families or gangs. And, when you get away from it, it's a whole different lifestyle. So it's like they're adjusting to the new lifestyle and so are we. And there's a lot of parallels.
That's crazy how that comes out. I gotta say he's got to have some crazy stories, man. Just being from that era of John Gotti, and I'd love to just sit down and talk to him sometime, dude. Definitely an
Yeah.
awesome guy, good dude. But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
if you don't mind, let's get into your Marine resume a little bit, brother. Where'd we go after boot camp and ITB?
So did the SOI. I went to First Battalion, Second Marines, March 2009. We did the whole. We didn't. We all kind of knew we were going to Afghanistan. Kind of hearing the rumblings through
Yep.
Lance Corporal telephone, echo chamber. And yeah, so it was around December. And I remember Obama did like that whole surge or
Surge.
whatnot.
Yep.
And we went to CAX in January, and then we deployed in March to Musa Kala.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Musa Kala. Yeah. And then yeah, did Musa Kala from March to October. And then I got back and they were asking, they were going to go on a MEU or whatnot. And they were asking people to cross deck the 1-6 because they were going to go back to Afghanistan. And, they just got back from Marja. And it was, now that I look back, it was crazy. Like 1-6, we barely had any boots. So they were like, we were getting ready. They knew we were going to, didn't know, but possibly they wanted to like beef up a battalion.
Yep.
And we ended up going to Sangin. But
Oh, you were a Sangin guy.
yeah, so I went to 1-6 Alpha, and then during the workup, then they wanted to add like a line platoon squad into weapons because the way
Okay.
they were, I guess, strategically wise. So they had, they wanted to spread because we're pushing up the Kajaki, so they wanted to spread load, more fire team elements,
Gotcha.
smaller, instead of squad size from 1-2, it was more like fire team
Okay.
movements, yeah, and I went over there, was a team leader, and then yeah, went to Sangin, got back. We deployed July to, what was it, to January, and then I was thinking about reenlisting, and I was like, I
Same here.
kind of knew what was about to happen. Like, they were talking about downgrading and
Yeah.
early outs.
Definitely a weird
So it
time.
was like, yeah. So I got out and, did the early out, got out in June
Of
and hiked 2012. So
okay.
I got out, I did like the, everybody's ready to get out. So I did like
Yeah.
the
Facts.
yeah. So I was like, I applied and got out June 29th. And I was like, hell yeah, summer. I went to Jersey Shore. I was like, hell yeah. No
Nice.
fucking plan. Well, collect unemployment like
Yep.
everybody else does.
Yep.
And then just partied my face off and then hiked a little bit. Did 350 miles on the Appalachian Trail when I got
Oh, you
out.
did the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah, I did it from up in your area, Maine to
Yeah.
did all Maine and New
I
Hampshire.
bet
And
that
then
broke you
after
off,
after
dude. That's no bullshit.
dude, after Mount Washington, I'm like, what? I just did this shit for fucking 4 years. It was snowing and shit. I'm like, I'm out of
It's
here.
for the
So I
birds.
got into yeah, I was like, I got into Monmouth University. I'm like, I'm gonna go try this school shit, just like a lot of vets. And yeah, and then I just started slowly, I started unraveling pretty quick, just like
So
thinking I was better, and like
I had the
vets and
same
not
same
fitting
thing here,
in.
dude. Same thing here. I
But
really
it's like we
wish
all put our pants on.
I really
But
wish that we kind of got prepared for that a little bit better, dude, because going through it, you really don't know what's happening. You don't, you kind of have that
mm,
that tough guy mindset, like, dude, I'm better than this, dude. This shit ain't gonna affect me, dude. Like PTSD, what?
mhm.
Like, dude, I don't gotta worry about that. I don't gotta listen to it. But you don't realize it, but it's already hit you. You're already
Right.
balls deep in it, dude. And it was a very
Yep.
crazy experience for me, like getting out, just dealing with that. You don't realize it when you're in because the op tempo is so high, and you don't
Mhm,
really have
mhm,
time to pay attention to you. You're always worried
mhm,
about the mission, about your boy next to you, just getting out alive. Period. So you don't really have time
mhm.
to think about what you're going through. And that was really difficult for me, bro. I don't know if you have a similar experience to that, but it was really difficult looking into myself and being like, oh, this is what's going on. This is what I went through, and it caused
Yeah.
this. But
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. It took me some some rock bottom moments, getting arrested for assault
yeah,
charge
facts,
and
facts.
just drinking and finally being like, yeah, I need some
I'm better
help.
than
Like
this.
I can't. You're right. It's like, it was just like a badass Marine warrior, like we all are, and come back and now I'm just a Joe Schmo.
Yep.
How do I, not everyone can relate to that. So there's few of us. So it's not like you're just gonna go talk to someone because it's like I, I don't, like my podcast, I don't talk war stories, all that. It's like, you know, you gotta I share that with talk about that shit with people I experience that with.
Of course.
And it's just, going through some things and seeing things, you're gonna change. You're gonna react different. The one thing too is like you don't have that camaraderie, like
That's a big
like
part
your
of it, dude.
barracks, all that. Yeah, and then you're like, wow, I'm lonely. How do I deal with this? And then people move on with their lives. Naturally, I still talk to my boys, but it's still here and there. But it's a whole different transition, and like you said too, you getting out. I remember was it MEPS, and it was like you're not paying attention in there, and
Oh, you're
you're
talking
just
about
getting ready to get
Steps and
out.
Taps, Steps and Taps.
Yeah, MEPS. Yeah, substance. Fucking yeah, yeah, and it's just like everyone's fucking around. You're learning how to write a resume,
Yeah,
but
like, and I'm
the
really
one
gonna
thing
worry
that
about that. Yeah.
right, and then the one thing that taught me, oh, and also too, they're like, they're telling you how to conduct an interview and how, you should be a certain way in society. It's like, fuck that.
Yeah, exactly.
Society can adjust to me.
Facts.
I am who I am, who I went through. So you get, just over time. And the one thing that helped me is just kind of having mentors, guys that have been through it. Um,
Well, you have a
Especially
sense
with
of
the
pride
podcast.
when you get out, dude. Because you know what, you just did the
Right.
damn thing. I don't give a fuck if
Right.
he doesn't understand that or she doesn't understand that, dude. I know what I did with my boys, and shit,
Hmm.
a lot of people don't get that. I'm sure. I don't know.
Right.
Did the pull out of Afghanistan hit you like everyone else, dude? Like, I mean, that just the
Oh yeah.
way they handled that, dude. I mean,
Yeah, that was it was weird too. I remember I got glued to the news on that. So
yeah,
watching Twitter, like seeing just like a lot of us, and it felt like you were helpless because you wanted to do something, and you could see it coming a mile
yeah,
away, especially if
yeah.
you've been there.
Of course.
And it's just like, and then it just felt like it was just like a big disrespect, and nobody. Yeah, and it's just I don't know. It's just fucking crazy, that whole
I mean, if
fucking
you know anyone
shit show.
that passed away over there, dude, it's like, what the fuck was all that for,
Hmm.
dude? Like,
Yeah.
why did I do any of that? If it's just going to be something as simple as just pulling out and I don't know, like it bothered me, dude. And you're right, dude.
Yeah.
What are we
Yeah.
going to do from here about it? I mean,
Hmm. Well, it's we got each other. I mean, like
facts.
the people that've been there, and we know what we did. We changed. We did some good shit over there. We gave people freedom, and it's these politicians that are fucking
Sadly,
shit shows, and that it was out of our hands. When we did our mission, and that's what
facts.
Marines
I
should be
hear you.
proud of that.
Did you see the Afghan trials recently? Or
I've been seeing some of it. Yeah, how's that? Yeah,
I
check
mean,
that out
it
tonight.
looked just like a breakdown of leadership, man. I mean, they had positive identification on a guy, placing IEDs or fucking with IED material, and they sent it up the chain, and they basically got a. And then
Sent it up the chain.
that's what I'm saying. I heard
What
that
does that
too.
even mean?
I mean, I guess they got on the radio and asked for uh, confirmation to take somebody out, and they basically said, "Oh, I don't know." And about 10 minutes later, 12 Marines are dead. Like
Yeah, that's what happens when you have fucking people leading not from the front, and they
that's what
don't
I'm
know what
saying.
you're fucking.
And
Yeah,
I
and
get it.
that's
It's
the
easy to be, over here,
yeah
not
Monday.
judging
Yeah,
and
Monday.
saying
Monday
that
more. Yeah,
Monday morning quarterbacking.
yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah.
I mean, we've been there. I mean, if you've been in any kind of situation where you got to pull the trigger, sometimes you got to make a decision, man. Sometimes it's got to be like, I don't
Hmm.
give a fuck about getting in trouble. I just want to handle this. And
Yeah, it's 100%. It's your boys, or that's it, and that's what matters when you go over there. It's just that you're doing this shit for the guy on the left or right of you, and nothing
take
else really
when you get a
matters.
chance,
Shit at home,
take a look at
people.
that. Let me
I
know what you
will.
think
I'll
about it,
check that
dude.
out
Yeah,
tonight.
cool.
Mhm. Yeah, 100%, dude.
So,
Yeah, so I mean,
go ahead.
yeah, man. Sorry.
No, you
Just that's the Zoom overlap.
we kind of got into talking about getting out, man, and it's kind of what I want to talk about on this podcast, man, because it's what I have the
Mhm.
most experience with, and it's what I definitely had the hardest time with, and I'm not saying
Mhm.
I'm perfect now, dude. I have my bad days still. I'm sure we all do,
Mhm.
but I'm learning, and it does help.
Yeah,
I
man.
think I think even talking with you, dude, like-minded individuals, I'm comfortable. I feel like I'm not being
Mm-hmm.
judged. I know you've been there to a certain degree. You can get it. And I feel like if more people like us get involved in the game, whether it's just podcasting or it's just somehow reaching out to these individuals and talking about our experiences. I mean, I know if I had that when I was getting out, if I had someone like us being taking me aside and being like, listen, bro, this is what it's gonna be like, I would have listened more for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. It's one thing we could do now is, we're not in combat, but we can share our experiences so it helps the younger guy, and that's the way Marines work. We look at it,
Definitely.
Marines through history pass down all the battle tactics and what worked, and we could still do that. But the one thing is people need to realize that you need to do it for you. No one's gonna come fucking, you're not gonna have that team leader or someone that sees you every day. You gotta, know it's okay to be like, hey man, what's up? How'd you get through this? I love when people reach out and
Same here.
shoot the shit, and I can help, and you don't need to do it and flaunt it that you help someone. I posted something the other day. It's do help someone today without even telling anyone, and that's the way it should be,
Yeah,
not
exactly.
posting all our
Without
social
even
media and
telling
shit.
anyone. I can't stand. It's not that I
Yeah.
can't stand that. When you just help somebody to post it on the gram, dude. It's like, dude, what'd you even do it for, dude?
I,
Like,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's a lot of fucking schmoes, and it's just be authentic and just share your story. It's not, don't be the guy that has to go and say how many fucking firefights you got into
facts.
or whatnot. We all been blown up and shot and shit and been scared to death. But it's like, now what are you doing?
Yeah,
That the
exactly.
war stories don't help. What are you doing now to help? What are you
It's not.
doing now to
It's not all
help
about
better
a dick
yourself?
measuring contest. I hear you, dude.
Oh yeah, and that's what's too. You got to find those vets. You're not going to like all vets. You got to find vets that are on your frequency and you fuck with. And
Honestly, that was a problem for me
that's
when I
that's.
first started doing the groups, dude. Because I dove in head first into the VA, bro. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, I didn't really understand what I was going through, dude. I just I knew I wasn't the same person, and I wasn't on the frequency that I needed to be on. I wasn't succeeding, dude. Every
Mm-hmm.
job that I took, it was just I was failing at everything. I wasn't learning. I wasn't paying attention, and I don't know what it was. I don't want to attribute it to anything specifically, but I just know that I was off to some degree. So,
Yeah, yeah.
I dove into the VA. I started doing the groups, and it's scary when I'm telling this from a firsthand experience. When you dive in with a psychiatrist or someone from the VA that's supposed to talk to you, and all of a sudden they're crying, or all of a sudden they're so. Tell me how you feel about this, dude, because I've been kind of messed up about it. This happened to me a little while ago, and I don't know. I'd like your opinion on it, because I know it's not just me that this happens to. I was in one of these groups. It's like a PTSD rehabilitation thing or whatever, and it was inpatient. And for me, when I don't really know anyone in the group, and I don't know like that you've been through similar experiences, it's hard for me to do like a group or share my experiences. I don't know. It's just me personally. So I let them know from the beginning, like if it's not like a one-on-one thing, I kind of I'm just gonna go outside or do my own thing. It's hard for me to get involved. I have a different background, dude, than a lot of these people, and so they understood that. But at one point, one of these young psychiatrists kind of like goaded me into talking about my triggers or things that I went through, and I basically told the story about coming back from a deployment, and I had been messed up because someone I knew had passed away. And I talked about being suicidal at the point. This was I let them know it was 6 years ago. I let them know that this was in the past. I've grown since then. Apparently they weren't listening, or they didn't hear me properly, but she sectioned me. So she called an ambulance, and they pretty much dragged me into this fucking ambulance. Keep in mind, I'm being non-combative. I'm just trying to articulate myself enough so someone with some common sense could listen to me. But it seemed like everyone was just looking down, or I don't know if we've just become a completely litigious society that doesn't listen, or when it comes to a certain point, you're just worried about covering your ass because of insurance things or something like that. Obviously, you don't want someone to kill themselves on your property, but I mean, you got to be able to listen to someone when they're in a right state of mind and they're trying to articulate themselves to you, because I really felt like no one was listening. And I get to this hospital, and they tell me when I get to this hospital, yeah, we're gonna forcibly take blood and urine from you before they even talk to me. I'm like, excuse me, like where what country do we live in again? And yeah, so I was like, yeah, I was trying to tell them, like, listen, my father's on the way. You can wait 10 minutes to have a conversation with at least someone besides me that knows me, that understands where I've been from. And yeah, they couldn't wait, so they ended up dogpiling on top of me, shooting me full of ketamine to put me
Oh,
down.
fuck that.
Yeah,
Fuck that.
I wake
What
up.
the?
I wake up 6 hours later, dude, and talking to this hospital administrator, and they let me go within it. So you're gonna tell me you do all that and you let me go the same day? So apparently I'm suicidal and in this terrible space, but you let me go the same day. So I don't know. There was clearly just a breakdown of some malpractice at this place, but I, instead of getting all bent out of shape about it and grabbing my fucking, well, I won't even go there. But it bothered me. And I know that it would be very easy for someone like myself to get in a situation like that as well. So I don't know, man. I just feel like we need to have better people in charge of listening to guys like us to at least help them in some sort of way. Other than that, I know that I was far more fucked
Mhm.
up when I got out of that situation than when I went in. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. I mean, that's the one thing I tell people all the time too is, the best people are the ones that listen and don't
Facts.
judge. I don't judge a motherfucker. And it sounds like that's just unqualified fucking
Definitely,
people in the
for
job
sure.
just trying to, like, say, save their ass. But fuck that, dude. Trying to they shoot you with ketamine.
What?
That's
Yeah,
fucked, dude.
yeah.
That's
I don't
fucked.
know what the rules of engagement are over at that hospital, but clearly it got accelerated to a certain degree. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I
yeah,
just
man.
I just really don't want to see someone else get put in a situation like that. Just from going through it, I'm aware now that that can actually happen, especially to
Mhm.
someone similar to me. And I don't know, it was an eye opening experience to say the least, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry you went through that. That shit's fucked. But that's why people don't fucking go to the VA, and that's why people, they got to rechange that, and not they need more people that've been through experiences and not just fucking Harvard fucking
Exactly. You can't read the shit out
PhD
of a
that
book, dude.
fucking right. That's all fucking Save a Private Ryan and knows what the fuck they're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
So
yeah, exactly.
it's yeah, they just need more qualified people, and the one thing that helps is talking to vets. That's what I
Definitely.
do. I don't, counseling. I'm on and off, but the one thing is just having, you got to find that tribe and people that, like I said, to fuck with you in your frequency, and then you could talk about things and they get it, and you could be in a position, you can be in a place with these people that your tribe, and not worry about a damn thing, and just that's when you're the right people. And that's key, man, is finding that tribe. And that's the shit that'll help. That's what's helped me. And um I'm thankful for that.
And that's all we can talk about, the stuff that's helped us personally, on
Hmm.
our level. And yeah, I completely hear you, man. But yeah, not to shift gears on you, brother, but I don't know, you mind talking about some of your deployments with us for a little bit? I mean, which one, if you don't mind, which one was the more kinetic one? Was it one or two?
It was probably the first one, but the second one sang, and we hit kind of the winter. But there was, some, pretty scariest time was probably on my second one with like 20-foot engagement. But that was the first one was probably more kinetic and welcoming because we went there in March, right? So you think about the whole fighting season, um, all the way to, what was it? I said what, October? Yeah. So, and it was just more, the first deployments are always seem different, right? Just because it's the first time exposing, you
Baptism by
know,
fire, if you
um,
will.
yeah, man. And it's just, you you get, well, you understand it's something you can't even explain as as a team leader. My second one, you can't explain what that feeling is when you get shot at, or see a wounded Marine or any of that. It's more, it's that's why it's so crucial, I think, is combat leaders is having that experience.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's Musakela was, it was just we pulled the Brits out. So it was, we the Brits were doing their thing. I don't know, what area were you in? You're in Helmand, obviously, but
Yep. So we bounced around a lot, man. But we were down. Have you ever been to Delaram or Dwyer or
Mm-hmm.
yeah?
Yep.
So we were actually in an area that was right in the middle of an intersection of Route 606 and Route 1. We were a patrol base right in the middle of the two, and basically we were mostly mounted, but we were tasked with setting patrol bases up all the way down, both of them. So basically, they would send out 3 or 4 of us to a patrol base for about a month, and we'd go out with A&A or AHP, and we'd go on patrols with them throughout the local area and get them ready to fight the Taliban, man.
Yeah, man. But yeah, no, it was just the experience in the first one is the feelings that you get for the first time, of that adrenaline that nothing can even compare to,
I
and
can
how your body reacts to that for the
I can
first
still
time,
remember the first time that I got into a significant engagement, and it
hmm
was actually a nighttime one. So
hmm
I just I was a Vic one gunner for 50 cal, and I can
hmm
still remember driving into it. And when you drive into a firefight, a significant one, and you can just see the tracers bouncing back and forth, man, it's on our last podcast,
yeah,
we had a guy from 1-6 actually. He was over in Ramadi in 2006, and he talked about it looked
hmm
like Star Wars, just
yeah,
lasers going back and forth. It's just surreal, especially when
yeah,
it's one of your first engagements and you're going into it. But
yeah.
exactly how
I
you said.
was
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was. We just got there and we're doing QRF for Charlie Company, and we did a helo on the side of the mountain.
No shit.
And yeah, so I have pictures and shit of it. It was nuts carrying these packs, and I had dysentery and I was sick though.
Oh,
So Doc gave me the Modium,
so
whatever it
you're
is,
dying.
the 120 degrees. The shoot. It was almost like I tell people. I'm almost. It actually. I was just like, oh, I don't even give a fuck. I get shot. Like
So
this is just
facts.
fucking
Just take
miserable.
me out.
I was so delusional. I was just like, I was dehydrated. It was 120 degrees, and I'm just like, what the fuck is
Was that the
going
first
on?
time you had something like that?
Yeah.
Oh,
So and yeah, it's where, and then you always get it the second time too.
yep,
It's
yep.
crazy. It's like, what the fuck? But yeah, no, that's how I got introduced to the baptism by fire. But
Damn.
it was, I was just like, just fucking shoot me at this fucking point,
Fuck.
dude. I mean,
So
yeah,
so
you
you get
know.
you get off the helo, and you said you were on a mountain.
hmm
Fuck my
They
life.
they side drop this at night, and just height. It's like
So you're
carrying
so you're juggling your
fucking
NVGs.
yeah, fucking tripping over shit,
Yeah.
and
Dude, everyone
trying not to
talks
get
about
fucking blown up.
NVGs like they're so badass and everything like that, dude. I honestly took mine off half the time, dude, because I either couldn't see,
No,
they'd be
I
falling
like
off.
to yeah, just adjust. I
Yeah,
like to adjust my eyes. But yeah, we sat there until sunrise, and of course the fucking Taliban knew we were there. And
shocker.
yeah, we're sitting on the side of the mountain. It's just like shooting RPG. I'm like, yeah, I think we gotta move. But it was yeah, so that introduced, but yeah, it's more about the IEDs, man. Seeing what they do to your brothers is just fucked. Those images don't leave. So it's
I'd
yeah,
rather be in a
and
gun battle 9 times out of 10 than dealing with,
100
you know what I mean?
100%, 100%. And then and when we went to Sangin, it was we used our tactic we used was, I don't know if you ever did the shaving cream.
Oh yeah,
So we, because of the eye, yeah. So
yeah.
we were doing the shaving cream, and they gave us these like diapers because dudes were losing their dicks, man. And that
Fuck.
that is
I can't
right.
imagine that.
Like,
I can't imagine that, dude.
take a bullet any day, man. I mean,
Facts.
not saying that, but if you had to
No,
choose, I'd rather
no,
not
I
have
hear
any.
you. I hear you.
But damn, dude, what those IEDs do, man, it's just fucking atrocious.
So,
And that definitely takes you off your game.
were you dealing with a certain type? Was it more pressure plate, or did you have a lot of the RCs, or what were you dealing with?
Yeah, more pressure plates. We had a couple of people hit old Russian mines that were there for
What?
years.
Shit. How fucking
Yeah,
unlucky.
yeah.
Jesus.
That's what they said, the post blast, but I'm like, fucking A, dude. That just shows you how like fucking nobody's been there.
Definitely.
But the fucking first when I got the SAG in the first time going out in the AO, man, boom, pull wire, fucking under Vic. I'm like, God damn it, dude.
Oh,
Like this is gonna be one of
talk to
those
me,
fucking
kind of try to articulate saying it to me, dude, because I've been through once or twice and I just, from what I hear, dude, it was just fucking hell, dude. It was either it was just
yeah.
entrenched or they just laid out hundreds of IEDs waiting for you guys, or talk to me about it, bro.
Well, yeah, so for Sangin's beautiful. I never
Yeah.
seen it because we were in the green zone. Yeah, we were in green camis, and it was nuts. The tree they had that. So it was like you think about, I'm not a tactical guru, but it's they had tree lines and they had just the way the whole layout was. And yeah, the IEDs were fucking everywhere there. I mean, 3-5 fucking did the push through there, which was
Oh, did
insane.
you
But
relieve 3-5?
I think we might have relieved 2-8.
Okay.
2-8, but we pushed the Operation Eastern Storm, I think it was. So we pushed up the Kajaki. So we got the whole view. I got the whole view of Sangin, but Sangin was just beautiful. I was talking to Sangin Valley Gun Club. I don't know if you've seen that
Yeah.
page.
Yep.
It was on it, and so he came on the podcast, and it was funny. We were just bullshitting like this. He came on, and I was talking about it. When we got there, was the Sangin sniper was just fucking. He was good, and the kid's talking. He's like, yeah. He's like, yeah. He shot me. He's like, I relieved his platoon. The patrol base we went to, Fahim, I think it was where he got shot, and that's where the sniper was. I'm like, holy, it was like small fucking world, dude.
Right.
Like crazy, dude. But yeah, I mean, it was yeah, just the battleground there was different.
Was it
More
heavily
enclosed.
heavily populated by Afghan civilians, or what was that like?
Yeah. I mean, it was just like, just thinking about it, they had a big bazaar there. So the market, it was big. So they did a lot of trading of opium, but it was just like they had a huge market. I remember driving through there one time. It was like a city. It was nuts.
Unsettling
So
feeling
that's
going through
why.
places like that, dude, huh?
Oh yeah. And then all of a sudden you're on a patrol. You're like, there's no one out here.
Oh, dude, I fucking hate that.
And
Make
then
the
you're
hair.
getting ICOM. That happened to me as soon as we got there. We're pulling up, we're all just getting there, lefty, rightsy, and I'm going to into the patrol base, and the fucking boot driving the MRAP fucking tips it. And I'm like,
Oh,
God damn, I'll fucking kill you. So we get out, and I'm looking over here. I have a picture of it, and it's like tree line here, high ground over here. And I'm like, and then they
terrible.
got ICOM chatter. They're setting up for an ambush. I'm like,
Oh,
God
fuck.
damn it. I was like, I'm gonna deal with your fucking ass later. But it was like that feeling, we ended up pulling the fucking Vic out, but I'm like standing there, I'm like, oh God,
How the
that's
fuck did you do
it's
that, dude?
got
Would you get a tow line on two other Vics and just pull it over from the other
yeah,
side?
I pulled up. Yeah, dude. I'm like, you fucking. And I was like, but we hit the winter months, so it was a little bit more. No one wants to fight in the winter,
No, facts.
That's.
Everyone stays inside.
But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but it was like, yeah, the two deployments are like totally different from tactics to. It was cool to see the Marine Corps adjust the tactics, and yeah, it was definitely
Did
each
you
tail
see
was
did you
different.
see like the local Taliban adjust to your TTPs and kind of like
Yeah.
you kind of did it with them? You'd go back and forth to doing things different. They would adapt. You do
Oh
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was that I really saw it when I came back. I was like, God damn, these motherfuckers they're fucking good fighters, man.
I don't
And
think
they're tough.
enough of us don't say that, dude, because these boys could fight.
Yeah,
They have experience. They fought the Russians for who knows how long. And I don't know how many
yeah.
situations you got into that you actually felt like either they had the upper hand or they were hunting you to a certain degree. But it's an
Oh
unsettling
yeah.
feeling, bro.
Yeah. I mean, the when Sagan, we did like a 48-hour op, and we first got there, did like kind of a reconnaissance patrol, and for some reason we wanted to go back to the same spot, and I'm like, fuck. So it was like our fire team, and then there was a satellite patrol that we were going to do overwatch on the Helmand, and all of a sudden we're up on the tree line and just they set up an ambush. And it was just like, fucking hey, dude. They are just you just feel like you're being there was no one out, and I'm just like, you just have that feeling where you're being
Being
watched.
watched. Yep.
You're like, what the fuck?
It
And
hit.
those motherfuckers would get real fucking close to you
Yep.
in sagging. They didn't. It wasn't like Muscal where it was like a couple hundred yards or meters, but it's like, god damn, dude, these motherfuckers are, and they know what the fuck they're doing. Just like setting up. They did a complex ambush. They hit us and like another platoon, and then they hit a battalion, the whole battalion. I was like,
No
these
bullshit.
motherfuckers are
Damn.
what the fuck,
Now,
dude. So
when you're that close with the enemy, dude, and the rounds are cracking by your fucking head, dude, it just it's so loud. You know what I mean when the fog of battle kind of hits you when you're in a situation like that, it just slows down, and I don't know how to explain it with adjectives to articulate well enough, but it's an
yeah,
awesome sight, and I don't mean awesome as in good. It's just powerful, bro.
it's really where as a team leader, it's like you rely everything's they always talk about it's muscle memory because when your brain is going 100 miles an hour, you're just your body's naturally doing what you're trained to do in those situations because what else are you going to do?
Exactly.
And it's your literally body is in
Fight or flight.
is it well, like right, you're right. So you literally are just like it is crazy. When you get back, it's like such a high. You're like, whoa,
Exactly.
throwing a dip, and you're like,
Yeah.
holy shit. And then when you get out, you try to chase that high again.
Yeah.
But you do it,
Can
you
never
do it with
match it, bro.
booze, you do it with fighting, trying to,
Booze, drugs,
relationships,
whatever,
drama,
whatever it is. Yeah. And you can never match it. I know exactly
right.
what you mean, dude.
And it's just you just got to find things that that will help tame that, like working out. I'm not a fitness fucking influencer, but it's you just got to find different things. There's ways. Even I find it too, like at work, like even doing like a presentation to get like a rush or just like something that's beneficial. Like try different shit that you're scared of.
Yeah,
Get out of your
exactly.
comfort zone, and that helps you work those. Being in that situation, you get that little adrenaline. It's gonna be nothing what you ever went through, but you gotta try different shit and know that you're not gonna find that high.
Facts. What do you think about what's going on right now in Ukraine, dude?
I can't keep up with this shit. I try to tune out the news, but
I'm
it's
not a big
just
news guy
all
either, dude. I hear you. But so
all the
we had a gentleman come on the show probably 3 months ago.
hmm
He's from South Africa. Um, and he's a private contractor, and
hmm
he's on the front lines right now in Ukraine. And the stuff he was telling me about the way that they're fighting over there, dude, is just fucking nuts, dude. Utilizing
it's a
drones.
different what.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. Dude, if I we did, lucky the Taliban have air, man, but fucking hey, dude,
That's what I'm
fuck
saying,
that.
dude. Drones are dropping ordnance. It's crazy, bro.
And it's a whole different. It's like conventional warfare,
Yeah.
right? Like, is
Yep.
that what, I don't
Yep.
know, it's like you're seeing videos, they're like in trenches and shit. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
God
Fucking nuts,
damn,
dude. So
dude.
he hits me up probably, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. And he's like he was kind of stressed out. He's like, dude, we're banging it out every night over here, and we don't have NVGs or night vision. I'm like, bro, didn't Biden just send you over $100 billion or something like that? He's like, yeah, we don't have anything, dude. I was like, what?
None of that shit's hitting them,
Yeah,
man. It's
exactly.
all,
It's
all
lining
going.
someone's pocket, dude. Unfortunately.
It's called money laundering.
Yeah, exactly. Facts. Sad.
And now we're paying for those motherfuckers' pensions in the government over there. Like, come on. Like,
I'm the same way,
the
dude.
one thing that
Go ahead. My bad.
it's the one thing that people don't realize is that we are given the opportunity for Russia and China to combine, and that's the whole thing why we didn't want to do Ukraine. It's
Yep.
people don't, the people that have their little Ukraine flags and all that shit. All right, then we'll send you over and put your kids
Drives me
over there.
nuts, dude, because they don't understand what they're promoting or what they're. It's just ignorance. It's ignorance at the
Mhm.
highest. It's and it's kind of scary, dude. Because if the masses, if it's that easy to influence the masses over just putting it out on the news, dude, like what else can they fucking convince people to do, dude? Scary.
Well, that's what they're doing with all the social media. Is you got these bot farms that have millions of fake users, and they think that they influence other people because people naturally are seeing other people, the narrative and follow or whatever the narrative is for the day, and these bots are disrupting natural humans on there because they're thinking, oh, all these people are liking this, and a lot of these people can't think for themselves, so they just follow whatever they get. It's all propaganda, man. It's you got to research shit and have form your
Absolutely.
own opinion.
Exactly.
It's even like when I hear someone about like this person's this and that. I don't judge a person as this,
Can't.
but if I decide if I like them or not when my experiences and what I went through, not just what word of mouth.
I agree with you completely. I agree with you completely.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, not enough people will do their own research or form their own
Nah,
opinions. They just go off whatever they hear, and it's
those aren't my people. Yeah.
it's just, we definitely live in a crazy time, man. And I I hate saying it, but it's scary, man, because I don't know where it's going. It's almost like it started Iraq and Afghanistan, now it's Ukraine, and I really hope we're not looking at like a world war, bro. Because
Yeah. I mean it's I hope not either. And the one thing is that, after, people seeing what our government did with the Afghan is I know they're having trouble people even signing up. Who
yeah, I
right
heard
now
that.
wants to who right now wants to take orders from these fuckheads? No one. Why would they?
You'd have to have
The way
zero common sense to do that, dude. Like, I
no,
mean,
no, it's war's a racket, man. These lobbyists are, you get these generals retiring, sitting on these boards of, these companies that make weapons and they profit off
yep,
war.
yep.
And,
That's why
that's
we
all
have
they
to
care about,
stay in an
man.
engagement, bro. That's
Mm-hmm.
exactly why. You're completely correct. The
Yeah,
military
no,
industrial
I'm
complex, dude, is almost like gotten to a point where no one can control it. I mean, you're right. These massive companies are lobbying politicians to do certain things that will benefit them to make ultimately the dollars. And
mm-hmm.
the only way that they're making money or selling stuff is if we're engaged to some degree. And it's sad, man, that
Yeah, I
the
mean,
common.
it's not even just war right now. Look at all this shit. You have these corrupt politicians making these policies, and then making money off the policies that they make. It's that's not America. That's corruption, and
Yeah,
it's at its all-time high. I mean, it's
for
probably been
sure.
going on for a while, but it's being exposed, and
Finally,
it's
all we
the
can
one
do,
thing that
bro,
fix these term limits would work, but.
all we can do is just talk about it and try to spread awareness at some level, and
Yeah, but the way we're gonna change is people individually changing. Like, don't you can't rely on the government. Like, financially be good, be fit, be a good role model, be a good neighbor, and do things that better yourself and other people will. I listen to Andy Frisella a lot, and he, what happens is there's that effect where people see you doing that, and then other people do it, and it's you got to start with yourself, and then your family, and then your neighbor and your community, and that shit will spread, man.
so
So it's not
set
going
the
to be an
example,
overnight thing.
do the right
Yeah,
thing when nobody's looking. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
yeah, I hear you. I agree with you
be
completely.
the be be the change you want. There's too many of this social media where it's all just fucking, you have this image. It's like, be about what you say, not what you fucking post. I can give four shits what people
Yeah,
are
exactly.
like. A lot of these
Facts.
people aren't even, yeah. So
You come from the era that you know didn't start out with the internet or didn't start out with the phone. You remember what it was like to a certain,
no.
right? No.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was
Oh
talking
yeah.
about the other day because my nephew is on his phone. He's like in middle school. I'm like, I'm so thankful that I grew up without a phone, and exploring, and it's like they're all on TikTok
Going
now and shit.
outside.
And
Yeah, I know.
playing
It's
fucking manhunt, like,
right. You remember that?
doing those. Be home at 6:30 dinner. You know,
Yep, I agree with you.
it's a different age, man.
Kids
It
are
kind of
different now,
it kind
man.
of sucks.
It
Sucks.
does.
Everything's on
Call
video.
call it like it is, man. I mean,
Yeah, it sucks to
would
grow
you
up like
would you
that, but
would you
that's all
almost
they
say
know.
that it's like almost like an attack on the alpha mindset or culture? I mean, it seems like they're trying to like push that out and just be the obedient beta that just listens to everything he's told. And I don't know, man. We live in an odd time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's what they want, right? So they can be in control. They don't want the outspoken
Yep,
alpha male that's going to say, "Hey, that's wrong,"
exactly.
and this is, with all the there's no privacy anymore. With
At
when you
all.
don't have privacy, there's no freedom. And that's we haven't had freedom for a while, and people need to realize that
People
this
don't
fake
understand that.
freedom shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know.
man. But no, they want you to be weak on their drugs, fat, addicted to drugs, and
Yep.
just so that you have to rely on them.
An easy target. Yeah, exactly. Have to
Mm-hmm.
rely on somebody
Mm-hmm.
else. I agree with you completely, sadly. But hopefully, I mean, I know we're starting small, but hopefully we can get the word out to some degree that not everyone's like that, and we can
Mm-hmm.
think for ourselves, and you know, that's a start.
100%. 100%, man. Like I said, you gotta be the change you want, and be your own gunny, or be your own leader, be a
Yeah,
gunny of your family, and
exactly.
that's how you gotta rock.
Small world. I can't believe that you had Capone as one of your drill instructors, dude. Small fucking world.
Right? That's just the Marine Corps, man. It's
Yeah.
wild. It's wild.
Well, I'd love to come down there sometime with my boys. With you talked to
Yeah.
Mike Giuliano a little bit, correct? Do you know him, or did you just?
Yeah. No, so he connected over. I guess he listened to the podcast, and
Yep.
just another connection. I'm sending him some I got him some mics that
Oh, that's
I
right. He
figured I'd
said that.
help out.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, he's just getting into the
Yeah,
game.
so
I'm happy that he's kind of starting his own thing out by him. But yeah, we'd love to
yeah.
come down to your studio sometime and do an in-person interview, dude. I know you're not that. I think you're only like 2-3 hours from me, honestly. But
Dude, come on down. We'll kick it.
that'd be great, dude. Well, I want to thank you for coming on our podcast, and just why don't you plug yours a little bit, dude? Tell my listeners about yours. What's the name, and when you guys do an episode?
So it was just me, and I got your six podcast at IGY6 podcast. I released only, when I feel like releasing. I don't like to force episodes. And yeah, I got a series of episodes coming where we talk about, pretty much, from veteran transition to, even conspiracy theories, which
Oh,
are
I
all not
love it.
true.
I love it. Which are all
And
true. Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
whatever we, I feel like talking about that time. So it's yeah, looking forward to kicking it back off and getting back into it.
Well, you heard it here first, guys. I got your six podcast, Brian Basho. Once again, thanks for coming by, brother. I love talking with you. Good to meet you, and hopefully we get another one in soon.
All right, brother. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate the
Episode
opportunity.
44, Semper Fidelis. Have a good night, brother.
Yeah.